Hello everybody, good evening. All right, it's time for us to start. Are you ready? Good. Wait, I'm not ready. Okay, let's look at, ladies and gentlemen, our agenda for today. Okay, so I forgot to summarize that. First, let us review EMA and LCC. Do you understand what they stand for? Environmental Management Accounting and what is LCC? What's LCC? It's a coffee shop down the road. No, it's life cycle costing. Yes, sorry. Yes? No, I don't have any more on the. It's probably don't have extra, but do you have access to Google Classroom? Yes. All of the slides are in there. But can you access it now? Already? But can you open it now? So we will talk about some of them today.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Also try and get to the LSE. If you want it printed, they probably have extra there. Okay. Review EMA and LCC, life cycle costing. So we will do a mind map. Okay? Today. Sorry. Hold on. Apologies, I have some. Where are you? Sorry, can you just look which ones you're missing? This is all the past ones. This one, life cycle. And then, yeah, no problem really. This is the same one? Okay. This one? Yes. And then, you want this one? Yes, okay, good. That's good. Okay, sorry, I have this here. Okay, anybody? Okay, just look which ones you're missing. Okay, because I have some. Alright, anyway. Alright, let's go back. So mind map, and then, ladies and gentlemen. You remember we had a homework? Who did their homework? What was the homework all about? Life cycle costing. And the main topic for today is chapter 3, which is CVP analysis. Okay, so we have a whole long evening with us, but I'm sure I will keep you entertained because I will ask you to do a lot of things today. Okay, we have a lot of calculations to do today. Okay, so are we ready? Okay. Did you open your Google Classroom? Yes, I sent you the mind map of our discussion last time, okay? And all the notes that we talked about from last time. So you need to be able to use all of those. Okay, now, sorry, we're here. Okay, let's do the mind map first of EMA. Okay, ready? Okay, so we begin with EMA, environmental. What is it all about? EMA is environmental management accounting. All right. So first, what is it all about? Okay, what is it all about? It's about cost, correct? Cost of what? Cost to the, yes, cost to the environment. Okay. What's the characteristic of these costs? They are what? Are they easy to identify? No, it's difficult to identify. And sometimes it's difficult to what? Difficult to quantify. Do you understand what it means? Means that you cannot put a value, correct? You cannot state what is it. How many, for example, how do you quantify how much poison is there in the water? Very difficult, right? Unless you have the tools. Okay, so it says that it says that the reason why we actually need, is we needed to identify the different costs. Now, there are two environmental costs, internal costs and external costs. Do you remember? Can you identify from what we've discussed? What could be, so when I talk about costs, I'll talk about internal costs, internal environmental costs, and the other is external. Okay? From what we've discussed, what could be some internal cost that is related to, that is related to environment? In other words, costs that you would see inside the company that they have to pay for. What do they? Waste. What? Waste what? Waste disposal, correct? Right? As it is, the waste has no value, but the cost is in throwing it away, correct? So one of the costs is, internal cost would be how to dispose the waste. Waste disposal. Okay? What's another kind of cost? Internal costs. Energy consumption. But energy consumption, can be, yes, it could be that it is consumption. But that energy consumption is part of your expense. Now talk about in relation to environment. In relation to environment. Think about cost, internal cost in relation to the environment. What do you need to pay? What is the other cost? Example, do you need to set up a system to monitor how much carbon emission you have? Do you need to pay to set up a cost to put in the incinerator? You remember? Yes? So you have what? Infrastructure costs. You have systems costs. Internal systems to monitor those different types of costs. So you have what? You have IT costs. You have infrastructure. You know what I mean by infrastructure? Like you have to have a building, you have to have sewerage plants. Okay, so those are internal costs. What else? In terms of environment, do you need to pay for permits or taxes? Permit is like, for example,
air pollution.
yes, something like that. Yeah, you have to pay those things, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So you have permits, permit to, for example, throw away toxic, okay, permits, taxes, you have to pay, correct? Environmental taxes, what else? Sorry, that's not internal. That's external, correct? Okay, sorry. I will put it here. External cost would be taxes, permits. What else? Okay. All right. Anything else? Okay. What else do you pay externally? Do you need to? Okay. Then external cost would be the use of what? Use of water. I'll put the energy here. Water and electricity. That's not internal. That is external. Okay. All right. Okay. What else? You need to pay what? Regulatory fees. Yes? So these are some of the expenses. Do you need to pay for example, if you have to clean up the environment? Yes? Environment cleanup fees. Now, do you remember what is the advantages? What are the advantages of identifying these costs? In other words, what are the advantages of having a what do you call this? Using the EMA. Think about it first. If I am able to separate this cost, what will happen? What am I able to do? If I'm able to identify this cost, what's the advantage to the company? Sorry? So you actually can identify the product cost, overhead cost, correct? Okay. So you can actually identify, alright? So which means what happens? Once you identify and classify the cost correctly, what will it help? It will help you, okay, have a very realistic product cost. Do you understand? So if you have a very realistic product cost, what will it help? It will also help what? Yes, very good. If you have a very realistic product cost, therefore, you have a better selling price. Can I just say SP? You understand what SP means? Yes? Alright? Okay. Alright. What are the disadvantages though? Any disadvantages? Sorry, say it again. Okay, good. I just finished this and I'll come to you because I have to listen to what you're saying. So one of the disadvantages is, she was saying something. What were you saying? One disadvantage of having environmental management accounting. Oh, okay, so it requires time and money, correct? Yeah? Time and money to actually identify those things. Okay? It doesn't come automatically. You have to pay for systems to do that. So one of that is, yes, time and money. It takes time to collect the data, the information, okay? Can you be very accurate? Okay? Maybe not accurate. Yeah, because lots of assumptions. Correct. Okay? Alright. What else? Pressure. Yeah, from whom? How many were, correct? Yes, okay. Pressure, because sometimes, yeah, you're under pressure to actually produce the information, which sometimes is what? Okay, sometimes it's intangible information. It's really not difficult. It's very difficult. Okay. Now, so as per our syllabus, okay, it says that there are ways to identify these costs. Okay, do you remember what they are? How can we identify in accounting what some accounting processes can we use? They identified and gave us 4. Do you remember what 4 these are? Okay, number 1, it could be, what is it? Okay, it can be flow cost accounting. Can you explain what it includes? You have to measure what? The materials, correct? What else? You'll have to look at the system where the materials go through, correct? And then there's one more here. What was the third part in flow cost? What is the word? Disposal, correct? What materials goes in which system does it go through, and how do you dispose it at the end? These are the 3 things in flow cost. That is different from the second one, which is what? Input, output, okay? What's that? Input, output, analysis. In input, output, do we also talk about those 3? All those 3? Are you sure? No, you only talk about one thing. What happens to what happens to the materials? What input material what material goes in, and what material comes out. Yes? And then, 2 more accounting systems. Life cycle costing, okay? Means what? It means that in the different stages of the life cycle, what are we supposed to do? We are also supposed to include any costs related to environment. Yes? You got that? Okay, that's what is here. What is the 4th one? And okay, what is it called exactly? Environmental activity-based costing. Correct? Okay. So, in other words, in one of the activities, you remember there are different activities, correct? You can include the activity that is related to environment. What were the 2 activities that I gave you as an example? That is environment-related activity. Who can remember that? I gave you and showed you 2 examples that is called environmental related activities. In here, I said you also establish a cost center. What were those 2? An incineration system, and the other was a sewage system. Do you remember? Okay. And these cost centers have their cost pool. Remember, activity-based costing, you have cost pools and what? You also have cost drivers. Very good. Okay, that is what is that environmental activity-based costing. You're clear? Okay. So, in your homework, I asked you to explain this. You remember? Yes, I hope you did. Okay, on your own words. Ah, I see. You opened your notes just last night. You have not opened your notes since we met. No, nobody wants to look into my eyes. Okay, just kidding. Okay, but make sure you guys study every day, huh? Okay, you remember the story about boiling the tea. Okay, all right. Make sure you open your notes. I should call you every day. Give me all your Facebook account. Okay. I should actually do that. Send you a message very early in the morning. Okay? Good. So this is our mind map. A little bit review. You don't need to do deeper because these are the basic things that we need to talk about. Okay? Under environmental management accounting. All right? So hopefully, again, I will send this to you through the Google Classroom. All right, guys? Okay? Now, let's talk about LCC. This one is very simple. LCC is very simple. All right? What is LCC again? It's time to get to that. All right. Okay. Okay, so life cycle costing. We begin. All right, so let's see. What is it all about? What is this costing method all about? What is the story here? All we wanted to do is accumulate the cost, correct? Over what? Okay, what is the life? What is the cycle made of? Okay, so where does it start? So the first step is development stage. Okay? Second stage, introduction. Are you looking into your notes or have you remembered it? Okay, next one, growth, and then maturity, very good. And the last stage is what? Decline, okay, or discontinue, or decline, okay. Okay. Is there a different product and different life cycles for different products? Yes or no? Yes, okay. So, what is the concept of life cycle costing? The concept is that costing is by period or for the entire life. Okay, so the key concept is, okay, not by accounting period, but by, okay, product life cycle. Okay, now, question is, what is asked normally in the exam? Do you remember what I said? Okay. If they ask you to do calculations, what are the two things that you're supposed to calculate? If you did the homework, you will be able to answer me. What are the two things? Okay. Total cost over the what? Okay, over life cycle. And what else did they ask you to calculate? Allocate per what? Allocate per unit. Sorry, and there's one more. Actually, they ask you to do. Yes, correct. Profitability per unit, correct? You understand? So they ask you to calculate the entire life and also calculate what is the profit per unit. Alright? Now, the key issue here is you need to be able to identify the costs at every stage. You remember how many stages? Alright, let's then, if you work with me now and you tell me what would be the costs under the development stage. Because this you need to know to be able to know how much is the total cost, correct? Okay. So, the first thing is, tell me what are the costs. Number one, research and, okay, very good. What else at this stage? Okay, testing, correct. Design is in the development stage, yes? R&D already. Do you need some equipment? You sure? Do you need some equipment already? So where will you do the testing? On the park? So you need to have a place, correct? How will you do the testing? Do you need machines? Yes. So you have some capital expenditure. May not be big, very big, but there must be some type of capital expenditure, correct? Okay. What else? Do you have some training? A bit, yeah, not a lot. Do you have revenues? Okay, no revenue. None. Okay. So, do you have profit or loss? Okay, mostly you will have a loss. Okay, now, let's go to the introduction stage. Alright, introduction. Any costs, please? So what is this here? This is now introduction to market, correct? Yes, is that correct? Yeah, okay. Then, so cost involved would be, okay, so number one is advertising and marketing, correct? Launch costs, what else? Is there anything else that we need to spend here? Training costs, correct? Because you need to train your salesman and everything. Okay. Do you have already production here? Yes or no? If you did the homework, you'll see that there is, correct? Yes? Will it be a lot of production? Is low, isn't it? Because you're doing the first few pieces only. Because you cannot launch without any products. Correct? So you need to actually have some already in production and in some distribution centers. May not be a lot, but you have to have. Next stage is growth. Okay? Now what happens in this stage? In this stage, are you having sales? Yes, sales are going up. Then what happens? What happened? Yeah, so you have costs, right? What kind of cost you have? Which is the big cost that you have here? You tell me. Production, correct. Production and distribution, and one more. What else do you think you'll be having expenses here? Okay. The other thing you need to do is talk about expenditure, inventory. You need to keep some in inventory because your sales is growing, correct? Yeah. So it may be inventory means inventory in store. Inventory, to be specific, then inventory holding. You understand inventory holding? You need to spend money to keep inventory. Okay. So do you have profits or not? Okay. It should be profit, isn't it? Should be profit at this point. Now, what happens to the next stage? What is the next stage? Maturity. What happens here? Okay. What happens to the sales? Sales will still go up or decline? What happens here? The sales demand increases or slows down? Okay, slows down. Alright, so what happened? Okay. So, in terms of your company, will they still market? Do they still advertise? Maybe not a lot, so reduce marketing. What does the company do? Can they extend the life of this product? Yes? What can they do? They can extend the life by, how will they extend life? How can I extend the life of a product? New market, very good. What else? Upgrade, correct. Upgrade, very good. Maybe make a change in the product. Okay, good job. Good. Is there any other stage left? What is, new market means new geographical location, yes? Very good. Good job. Okay. Last stage. What is the last stage? Decline. Alright, so what happens in decline? Demand. What happens to the demand? Okay? Okay. The demand is very low. Correct? Or, because it's declining, it didn't say stop yet. It did, okay? So, right? Okay, so what do you do here? What are some of the costs? Aside from production cost, there's one more cost. Okay? This disposal and decommission. Okay? Decommission means if you have equipment that you need to actually throw away properly, so you need to decommission it. Okay? If it's discontinued. Alright? What would be the advantage of having such a system? Why am I doing LCC? What could be the advantages? Okay? Okay, very good. Okay. What do you call it? Yes. Minimize break-even time. Okay. In other words, you get your research and development back, or whatever it is you spent. What else is the advantage? Give me one more advantage.
Prolong the length of the time of the product before we get a new product.
Okay, so if you understand the life cycle, you identify, okay, time to market new developments. Okay, what else? What else is the advantage of getting to have life cycle costing? Are you able to, okay, minimize to what? Okay, so you understand how, you need to know how to minimize time to market of the product itself, okay? Alright? You'll also be able to identify the costs. Yes, correct. Does LCC help in better decision making? Yes. Okay. Better decision making. Good. Excellent. The homework that I gave you was asking you 3 prices. You remember? Yes. What prices were there? They wanted to sell the product at 150, 180, and the other price was 225. I'm asking you now, what price is the most profitable? What price was the most profitable? 225? Anybody else tell me what is the most profitable? Because that was the question, right? Which product or which selling price will give the company the most profitability over its life? Yeah. So the ones who did the homework will look into my eyes. The ones who did not do the homework will not look into my eyes. Yes? Right? So anybody else? Everybody's looking at the question. Where is the answer? Okay. How, even if you did not do the homework, practically, how should I solve this? What should I do? It gives me 3 prices, and there are different costs at different prices, correct? Yes. So what should I do? Okay, so you need to calculate 3 times, correct? So different pricing, different costs, correct? Okay. And then what will you do? You have to take the cost per unit because the selling price is per unit. Do you understand? Okay. The selling price is per unit. I want to open it in the computer. So wait a minute. Let me show you what happened. Aha. Okay, so I did send it to you. Yes, where is the question? Is this the one? No, that's not the one. Homework, see? It's very clearly written there. All right, so you see there were 3 pricing, you remember? Yes. 150, 180, and 225. And at different prices, they had different sales demand. It's correct, okay? The demand changes with the selling price. Okay? So I need to compare now cost per unit against each selling price. Okay? So that's what happens. And then once I have the cost per unit, I can actually see which one will give me the highest possible profit over the life. You understand? Okay. How many years? 4 years. Very good. Okay? So in reality, if you look at the answers, okay, you will see that 150 has the highest profitability. Okay? Highest profitability over the life. Who were not here the last time? I have some extra of those questions. Okay. For you? Did you have this? This is the question. The answer is coming now, huh? Here. I knew somebody came from this side. Okay? This is the question. Get the answer. One more answer? You have it? We have some extra over here. You have this already? Alright, who else doesn't have? Answer. This is not enough. Yes? All right?
Now,
Do you see it? What did I do there? For every, yes? For every price is one set of calculation, yes? Okay. All right? Now look, which one gives us the highest profitability? If you sell at 140, 150, 180, yes? Actually, not really, over the life. Over the 4 years, because, yes? So which one gives you the highest? 100 and 150. No. The lives, the topic is life cycle costing. If it's short period, that's another story. But our topic is life cycle costing. So it's the cost over the entire life. The profits over the entire life. Yes? I understand where you're coming from, but not this topic. This topic is total. Okay? Total over the life. You got that? Okay? So what is your skill level here? You must be able to identify what are the costs for each year, each product. In this case, for each price. Okay? What's the profitability per product? And then what is the profitability over the entire life? You understand? Okay? And be able to choose accordingly. Alright? Ladies and gentlemen, that is the skill you need to perform. Okay? Don't worry, I'll put it again in the Google Classroom this time. Okay? Clear? Alright. Now. Alright, here is. Okay. Let's begin with chapter 3. Any questions on those two? Alright, chapter 3. Chapter 3. Okay, you get for your row and pass, yeah? So it's one, happy. Can you get for your row and then pass? This is chapter 3. Yeah, it's in the Google Classroom already. Did I give it before or no? Alright guys, ready? Okay. CVP analysis is the first topic under decision-making techniques, okay, in your syllabus. So we are already in the second part of the 5-part syllabus of our course. Okay. So cost, volume, profit. That's CVP. Now we're going to go through and look at the formula on how to look at profitability and break even for single product, for multiple product. We're going to talk about CS ratio. What is CS? CS means contribution to sales ratio. Okay, contribution to sales ratio. All right. We will also learn how to calculate number of units to sell for a company to actually achieve a certain targeted profit. We will talk about margin of safety, and we're going to learn how to prepare a chart, although you're not going to be asked to make a chart because this is a CBE, but they will ask you to interpret a chart. Now, you'll not be able to interpret a chart unless you know how to make a chart. Okay? And of course, we'll talk about many other aspects of CVP analysis. Okay? So, remember, we are going to need to talk about why there is CVP analysis, why we use this technique, how to calculate break-even point and margin of safety. Okay? So, some things that you need to make sure you understand how to do. So, break-even point, margin of safety, what else? CS ratio. What else? All right. And then you need to actually use it to make decisions. Remember, our section of the syllabus is decision-making technique. Okay? So how does this calculation help you make decisions? Okay? Now, one other thing. Calculate. What is that number now? 1, 2, 3, 4. Target profit. Okay. And how does it help again in decision making? And number 5 is to prepare different charts. And there's the break-even chart, and there is the profit volume charts. Okay. So you must be able to come out of this knowing how to do this. Now, should you not know any one of this, then we need to study more. Okay? You need to make sure you know that. Then you can only say that you are prepared. We'll also look at where this technique can and cannot be applied. Okay? What and which situations can you use this technique and when it cannot be used. Okay? Okay, so remember, I need some basic information from your previous lessons. For example, what is a contribution? Okay, how do you calculate contribution? Because we need that. Okay, now, all right, so sometimes we need to look at companies who sell more than one product. Okay, so how, again, companies will need to decide. Do they need to improve this product? Discontinue this product? Okay, so some companies they can sell more than one product. Okay, so here you can do cost volume profit analysis when companies have a single product to sell or many different products. So these are the things that we're supposed to be able to do. Remember what I marked earlier? Okay, this is a summary of that. Again, the things I marked earlier are those things that you need to be able to remember how to do. Alright? Don't worry, we will do one at a time and I'll get you as many exercises as we can. Okay? Now, how is this tested? Most of the time, they will ask you to calculate. Okay? Number 1. Number 2, they will ask you to interpret a graph. Okay? And number 3, they will ask you to look at the limitations of the analysis. Okay? These are some of the type of questions you will see in the exam. Okay? Now, remember, you need to use the information from the scenario and apply whatever formula is applicable to that scenario. Okay? Now, Right. In a single product CVP analysis, okay, we need to look at the relationship between revenue, cost, and sales volume. So that is what happens here in break-even chart. So I need to tell you how to do it. Okay? How to make a break-even chart. I will ask you to make also a profit volume chart. Okay? Don't worry about that. Those parts there, I will add. These are just indicators of how to prepare the charts, and I will tell you how to do that later. Okay? Now, because you have to, in a chart, you have to know where to start and when to end. Okay? And my chart always has a line. Now, a line can be drawn if you have 2 points. Remember this. Okay? So we need to be able to identify what are those 2 points so you can draw the chart. Got that? Okay? So, alright. So break-even chart. You have an x-axis and a y-axis, correct? Alright, good. So, the x-axis is usually your activity, and the y-axis is your cost. Okay. The first line you would do is fixed cost. Is that line correct? Yeah, it means it's zero, already have a cost. Agreed? Okay. And regardless of the number of units, your cost remains the same. So the first one is correct, right? This one is your total cost. How did I draw that line? Remember, I need 2 points every time I draw a line, right? Yes. How did I draw total cost? What does it include? Yes. Where is the variable part? This one here, correct? This one is your variable cost. So then that line becomes total cost. You understand? Okay. So, next one. How about this line? Make sense, this one? You don't have any revenue, if you don't sell anything. Is that correct? And then you multiply by the selling price, you have that point there, right? You understand? Okay. So if this is the quantity, I multiply by the selling price, I get this point over here. You agree or don't agree? Again, I will repeat. How did I get that point? Because I need to draw this line, correct? So, number of units, multiply by selling price. Agree? And that is your sales, right? So remember, always 2 points to make a line. Okay. Then, let's see, what do we have here? What is this point here? Ah, yes, break even. What does break even mean anyway? Okay, so if sales equals cost, profit is 0. And at that point, when profit is 0, which means that is your break-even point. Okay? Means that if this is 0, then this is your break-even here in terms of units, or this is your break-even here in terms of value. Do you understand? Okay? So, yes. Agree with that? Yeah? Okay? And this is your break-even point. Okay? So break-even point is here, so which means this would be the sales in units to break even, or US dollars to break even. What's this? Margin of safety. Anybody can explain that? No, I'm not writing it there because these are things that you should have learned from before, correct? What is a margin of safety? A margin of safety here is the difference between my break-even point and my budgeted sales, correct? Or actual sales, can be budgeted sales normally, right? So what does that mean? Anybody? What does margin of safety tell me? So this is my budgeted sales, and this is break-even point. So at this point, break-even, I'm not making profit, correct? Which means margin of safety means, okay, between here, I'm still making profit, agree? Okay. Which means within here, I'm still safe, I'm still making profit. But if my sales fall below this. You understand this quantity here, right? If my sales fall here, I'm making a what? A loss. Is that correct for the chart? If my sales is in here, am I making loss here? Yes. Look at the cost line. The cost line is above the sales line. Do you see? Everybody, are you looking at that? Looking? Or you're looking at the store outside? Okay, you understand? Yeah, all right, clear? So this is margin of safety. Any decrease from your budget within that, you're still making profit. That's why it's margin of safety. You're still making profit. Okay? So, now this one here is a break-even chart. Okay? You can see the break-even. But this one says contribution break-even chart. What's the difference between the two? Let's take a look. Again, let's look at X and Y axis. Got it? Yes? Look what has started first. Is it different from the first one? Yeah, we started with the fixed cost earlier, correct? Where is the fixed cost? The fixed cost is in between here now. Yes? Agree? Okay. You agree it's fixed cost? Okay. Sales revenue, same like earlier. Agree? Okay, now that's profit. Something is wrong with this chart. Can you tell me what it is? Because it's supposed to show me contribution, correct? That's why it's called contribution, break even. I can see the break even, but I should see the contribution. Is that correct? Is this the contribution? Think. Again, I will repeat. It's supposed to show me contribution, correct? The word contribution is there. Does it show me break even? Yeah, it will show me break even. Yeah, it's there. Break even. But there's something wrong. Or am I wrong? Is it everything okay? You agree with the chart? Yes? Correct? Yeah. You agree with this chart or not? What is contribution anyway?
Is it a variable cost?
Really now? I'm going to hang you upside down. What do you mean? You're asking me it's contribution. Contribution is variable cost? You know I can box, right? Is contribution variable cost? Come on. Is it? No, it is not. Contribution is sales less variable cost, correct? Okay, now look at the chart again. Is it correct or wrong? Is this contribution? It should be where? Tell me. Yes, contribution is these two here together, isn't it? Yes? Very good. This is not correct. This one here is what? You understand? So this, okay? This, you probably say, but you should have corrected it already, teacher. No, I don't want to correct it. Let me see, I hope I can change it. Yes? Isn't that supposed to be there? Yes or no? There. So contribution really is what? Contribution is sales and profit and fixed cost, isn't it? Okay? So let's put it the way you understand it. How do I get contribution? Is selling price less what? Variable cost equals is contribution. Understood? Less what? Fixed cost equals. Now, does the chart make sense now? Does the chart Make sense? That contribution is actually profit and fixed cost. Does it make sense now? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Don't say yes if you didn't understand. Okay, no. My friend, what is the problem? Yes, what about the variable cost? Where? All of it? Even until down? No, this is your variable cost. It's correct. You don't make anything, you don't spend for materials. Correct? This line is your variable cost line, which means this is your variable cost. Okay? Got that? Questions? Any questions? Clear? Alright, so I'm sure you'll not be able to miss that anymore. Alright. How about, okay, margin of safety is still the same. Profit volume chart. Looks a little bit different. Yes, it is. Okay, let's understand this. This line is your sales volume or sales revenue. So it can be in dollars or number of units. This is your profit and loss line. Y is in the middle break even, which means what? This one here is 0, correct? Now, how did I draw this line? Where do I start and where do I end? Can you tell me? First tell me, what do I start with? Here, what is this value here? What is this line here? No, it's just not can be. It is fixed cost. You understand? Means that if you sell nothing, you still have to pay the fixed cost. You understand? Okay. So your first point of this line is where? Is at a loss. And how much is that loss? Is your fixed cost. You got that? What about this point here? How do I get to that point? What is that point? Because I need to draw this line, correct? I need to draw this line. So I know where to begin. What do I put here? What number is that? How do I determine that point? The profit for this unit here, correct?
Yes.
Okay, because this is profit here. Huh? So when I sell so much, then that is my profit. Then I draw the line. What is this point here? Yes, very good. So that is break-even point. Okay? At this point, there is no profit or loss, and this is the quantity or the sales volume that you can sell where you don't have profit or loss. It's break-even. Okay? Clear? Question? Alright, we'll try and do this together as well later on. Okay?
There is no variable cost here.
In this, you will not see the variable costs. All you see the fixed costs, and you use the variable cost to calculate your profit. Understand? Understood. All right. Yes. In the where? Where is that next question? Where? Yeah. You want me to go back to the last slide, me? Okay, sorry. This one? You're there. No, break even is when your sales line meets your total cost line. No, you don't see it here, but you will see it by totaling. That's why it's put together. The profit and the fixed cost together make up your contribution. No, you will not see it here. There is no contribution line. Yes, there's only a total cost line, a sales line, and a variable cost. The results would be contribution. Yes. In here, these two is together. You see? In the other one, if you look at the first one, This is the first chart I showed you, right? Look. Sorry. Here, is it easy to calculate contribution? It's not side by side. The profit is here, the fixed cost is here. Understand? Okay? So what you can actually, that's why it's only a break-even chart. But when you calculate it to be contribution break-even charts, you put the profit and contribution, the fixed cost and the profit together. And so then you can actually get the difference. Yeah. But you not have a contribution line. It's a result. Contribution is a result of two things working together: the sales and the variable cost. And then which is your sales line and your variable cost line. Yeah? Okay. Any other questions? Clear? Very good questions because you need to be able to interpret them in the exam. Okay? Alright. Alright, let's look at some of the formula. This particular slide, if you don't remember them yet, you need to remember how they're calculated. Yes? Okay? So, need to memorize. Okay, but don't worry. It's going to be easy. Alright? Break-even point is fixed cost divided by contribution per unit. CS ratio is easy to remember. It's CS means contribution divided by selling price. Break-even using the CS ratio is fixed cost divided by CS ratio. In other words, I told you earlier, you can have the break-even in number of units or break-even in dollar value. Okay? So, this one here is break-even in number of units, the first one. The second one here is break-even revenue, is in US dollars, correct? Okay? The other way you can calculate this is take the break-even units, multiply by the selling price. Make sense? Yes? Okay. Margin of safety. What did I tell you earlier in the chart? Margin of safety is the difference between the budgeted total quantity and the break-even point. You remember? Now, even if you don't remember the formula, you can remember the chart. Okay? Easy. Margin of safety. Sometimes you state the margin of safety in percentages. Now, how do I calculate that percent? I'll explain in a moment. You take the margin of safety divided by the budgeted sales, because that's where you start first. Okay? Now, why in percentage? Because if your percentage, for example, if your margin of safety says 30%, okay? 30% is your margin of safety. Now, what does it mean? It means that any decline from the budgeted sales within the 30%, you are still safe. I will repeat. Any decline in your sales percentage, any decline in percentage points in your number of units sold, it will tell you if you're already making a loss. What do I mean? A salesman would say, oh my goodness, I have a 10% decline, or my sales is 10% short of what it's supposed to be, which is budgeted sales, correct? So if he says 10%, his sales is less by 10%. Now 10%, is it within the 30% margin of safety? Yes or no? Yes. So even if the sales decline by 10%, I am still making profit. Even if I don't see any numbers, I know I'm making profit. Why? Because my margin of safety is how many percent? 30%. But if the salesman tells me, ooh, it's 31% decrease in my sales. 31% decrease in the sales. Am I making profit or loss? Now you are making a loss because you are beyond the margin of safety. You understand now? Okay. That is why you need to calculate. Margin of safety in percentages. Okay. The last one here, what do you think? If I add a profit to my fixed cost, divided by contribution, it will tell me what? It will tell me how many units to sell to make what? To make this profit. Do you understand? Because if without this profit, what is this? What's this divided by this? Break even, correct? So I add the profit, then it will tell me how many units to make that profit, right? You understand now? It's not very difficult to remember. Okay? The more you will remember now when we start using them in actual questions. Okay? So, right? Alright, break-even chart, we will do that in a moment. I showed you how to put it onto the system, this one. The profit volume chart, when you have more than one product, you have more than one product, break-even chart, you actually total the revenue and costs of each product. For profit volume chart, we have to use a CS ratio to know which product to plot first. Don't worry too much. I will show you how to do that later. Okay? Now, what about if you have more than one product? What happens to your break-even points? What is different from the earlier formula and this formula? Weighted average unit contribution. Weighted average. Why? Because you already have more than one unit that you're selling. More than one product. Okay? Over here, weighted average CS ratio. Okay? Don't worry. I will show you how to calculate. So, first step. So this chart, you need to put a star, because this one shows you the steps on how to calculate, CVP analysis using many, or break-even point using many products. Okay? So you remember this. Step 1, calculate the contribution per unit. Okay? Number 2, contribution per mix. Okay, so the mix is your weight. For example, I have 2 products I'm selling, this water bottle and this bottle here. So for every one of this bottle, I sell 2 of these. So what is my mix? Okay, I sell 2 of this water bottle for every bottle of this one. So what is my mix? 2 is to 1. Do you understand? That is a mix. Okay. Then you come out with the break-even point in number of mixes. Mixes means a combination of. Okay? Then you will be able to say, how many units of this should I sell? And how many units of this should I sell to break even? Okay? Remember, I'm selling more than one unit. One product, sorry. Okay, so let's see. Let's use this example. In the entire examples I will show you, I will use this, okay? J. Cole, how many products they sell? M and N, yes? Can I calculate break-even contribution per unit? Can I? Yes, why? I have the what? What's this? Selling price, and I have the, very good. What is my mix? 5 is to 1. Do you see? 5 is to 1. Fixed cost? Do I need that information? Yes. Okay. What was the first step in that list? Calculate the what? Contribution. So easy, isn't it? So what is the contribution of M? 4. What's the contribution of N? 10. So 4 and 10. Agree? Yes. What was the next step? Contribution per mix. Is that correct? Yeah? Are you looking into that listing I told you to memorize? Okay. So what will I do? Contribution per mix. What was the mix? 5 is is to 1. Agree? So your contribution per mix is 30. Good. Now, what happens? What is 1,000 mixes? What is 1,000 mixes? Break even in number of what? Mixes. So mix means 1,000 combination of M and N. Yes? So, which means how many M and how many N? What should I do? 1,000. You remember what is 5 and 1? The mix, correct? 5 of N. And so which means they need to sell 5,000 of M and 1,000 of N to break even. Agree? How much is the revenue that they have to sell? 35,000 of M, 15,000 of N, which means their total break-even revenue is 50. Do you know where 50,000 came from? Yes? Which is this two, right? Okay? What? What's the question? What is M and N? Huh? There's two. Yes, these two. These are the two products they sell. Yeah? So, it says that there will be 1,000 of the combination of the two. Yes? So, 1,000 mixes, 1,000 combination of M and N. But I need to know how many of M and how many of N. Correct? So, I multiply the mixes by the mix. What is this? Selling price, which means this is the total revenue to actually break even. Do you understand? Okay? You got that? Okay, let me encircle that so you will see. So this one here is equal to this. Yun? So in this case, it takes them 5,000 of them, 1,000 of them, or 50,000 in total revenue combination to break even. Yun? Okay? Now, make sure you understand. Huh? This is your work. Now, I want you to tell me how many is the break even in units and how much is the revenue to break even. Alright? Follow the process. Alright? How many products are you selling? 2. Very good. What information do you need? You need the selling price, correct? What else do you need? Variable cost, look for it. What else do you need? Fixed cost, very good. Anything else? Anything else do you need? What else do you need? So you said you need selling price, you need variable cost, you need fixed cost, and then? The what? What do you call that number? Yeah, that's the calculation, but so far I want you to tell me what you need from the problem to be able to solve that. So you told me you need selling price, you need a variable cost, you need a fixed cost, and what else? Yeah, you call it the mix, correct? Okay, the sales mix. It's called the sales mix. How many, what are the two products you're selling here? Ice pack and freeze pack. Is that correct? How many of ice pack do you need to sell for every freeze pack? Okay. 7 of ice pack equals to 3 of freeze pack. That is your sales mix. Alright? Do you have all the ingredients? Yes. Start calculating.
Done?
Okay.
How many of freeze pack and how many of ice pack?
Alright? First step. So how many? How many? How many mixes? How many combinations did you get? What do you mean two combinations? How many mixes? 500? Yeah. 577 mixes, correct. Okay, if that's correct, everything else will be correct, hopefully. Okay, so first is what? Contribution per unit. Agree? So, ice pack versus freeze pack. Okay? Selling price less variable cost. Agree? So 10 less what? 5.60 is? Okay, good. That's easy. Alright. Now, next level. Contribution per mix. So what is the mix again? 4.40. How many of ice pack? 7 plus, correct? Okay. 15.75 multiplied by 3. So your contribution per mix is what? Very good. Yeah. So therefore, what is your break even in terms of mixes? What is the formula? Fixed cost, which is how much? Divided by what? The one from number 2, correct? 5, 7, 7 mixes. Agree? Okay. But I need to know what is the break even in units, and I have to break it down into 2. Ice pack, and the other is freeze pack. What should I do? I say what? Yeah, 5, 7, 7 mixes, correct? What is the mix? 7 and 5, 7, 7 multiplied by 3. So how many units? Yes, agree? You have to round it off if there's a round off issue, right? 1731 units. Now, but I want to know the break even in dollars. What should I do now? Yes, very good. Simply multiply by what? Okay, by the selling price. So 4, so again, sorry, ice pack and freeze pack. Okay, so this is what? 4039, and the selling price is 10. 1731 multiplied by 22. Okay. So in total, what is the total break-even revenue? 472. Correct? Yes? Does everybody agree? Yeah? Okay. So hopefully that shows you that. Question? Right. So the exercise is supposed to help us remember key things here. How to calculate contribution per mix, correct? The rest is easy. Okay, the issue is contribution per mix. You okay? Question? Because of the number. Okay, clear? Question? Yeah, because we usually use the Excel. Alright, good. Now, let's continue on, shall we? Okay. How about if we use the CS ratio? What should we do? You remember earlier was using the break-even break-even ratio, correct? Okay, break-even point. What about if we use CS ratio? We come out to be calculating break-even sales also. So, first, okay, we need to use what? Okay, calculation of break-even in approach 1, except that what we need to do, revenue, we have to do something. Revenue per mix. Because the CS ratio is your contribution divided by, your contribution divided by sales, these two, yes? Then you have the break-even points, and then you break it down by product. Let me show you, okay? Let me show you, okay? So, you remember what was the mix? Not the Coldwell, the first one, M&N. You remember M&N? Yes, okay. So revenue per mix. So here, what you need to put, what is this? This is your selling price, okay? This one is your mix, okay? Then you have to add, this is your revenue per mix. This one you know how to calculate. We just did example earlier, correct? How do I get to this? Is 30 divided by 50. Okay. So therefore, what is my break even? You see this? This is now your break even in what? In dollars. Yes? In the first one, that was the end result, correct? Okay. But, what should I do now? I need to break down the 50,000 between M and N. You get that? Okay. So what should I use? I have to use the, what's this? This is the selling price. This is the revenue per mix, correct? You see this? Okay. So this is now your 35 is to 50. Okay. So this is now your ratio. 35 is to 15, or you can round it up. So what will I do? The 50,000, I will use the 7 out of 10, 3 out of 10. You break it down. Do you want in units? Can I get in units? What should I do? I want number of units. Divide by what? Divide by 35? No, I have this. This is the total sales of M, total sales of N to break even. Yes? I want to know how many units. Divide by the selling price. You understand? Reverse. Okay? You want to try? Yourself? Okay, let's try. I have another example for you. Okay, so if you're given a CS ratio, okay, so you can do that. Okay, different product. Okay. All right. Oh, I don't have an example. Oh, no. You can. I have an example. Do you remember the Coldwell earlier? Okay. Can we use Coldwell using this format? Yes. Can you do that very quickly? Okay. All right. So what is our revenue per mix? Have you done it already? Revenue per mix for Coldwell is 136. Contribution per mix, we already calculated this. What is your contribution per mix? 78.05. So what is our CS ratio? What should we do? 1705 divided by 136. Is that correct? Yes or no? So how many percent? Okay. 57.4. So let's round it off to 57. Is that correct? Yes? Got that? All right. What's the next thing? So break even now, total, is what? What was the fixed cost? 45 divided by 57%. How many should give us? 78,947. Correct? What was the total earlier? Why is it a little bit different? Because of the rounding off, yeah? Okay, but it's about 78,000, right? Now what's the next step? I need to calculate the what? What is it called? Okay, I need to break down between ice pack and freeze pack. Okay, so what is the ratio? Is to 22 times 3. So in other words, the ratio is 70 is to 66. Or, can we simplify it? 35 is to 22, correct? I'm sorry, 30. 33. Can we simplify for more? No more. That is it, correct? Okay. So, ice pack and freeze pack. How will I know the breakdown? What should I do? 78,947 multiplied by 35 over, what's the total of these two? 68. 78,947 is 33 over 68. Yes? Agree or no? Okay, I haven't finished yet, but I'm so excited to move on. Question? So it says ice pack should be 40,634 pieces, and freeze pack is 38,000 something. Yes? Is it almost the same like earlier? Should be 40,000 and 38,000. Double check. Yes or no? Yes? Okay, round off issues because of the points. Yeah? Understood? Oh, sorry. This is in units or dollars? This one is in dollars. Yes. Ah, you can simplify this to this. You know how to simplify now? Or? You divide by 2. Really? You don't need to simplify, you can do that. You use calculator anyway. Yeah. So to ease the calculation, you have to simplify, yes? So if you're using the computer or calculation anyway. The next question. Is everything clear? Because we need to move to the next. Yes, yes? Alright. Okay, before I move to the next, you need a break. Thank you very much for giving me this. Really, no, you can look at the watch like this. I got the message. Yes. Please do that every time, huh? Remind me. I get it. Okay, 15 minutes, please, and you can have a break. Yo. Sorry, say it again. Yes, because but, then this is your, okay, determine each price, the life cycle cost of each market. What price will produce most profit? You see? At which price gives you most profit? So you need to compare with the same price. The first one, yes, cost per unit, but then the second is what price will produce most profit? Then you have to calculate the profit per unit multiplied by the number of 4 years. Yes? Mm.
I want to see like in which kind of business that you follow as what kind of business that follow because normally like you can say that business stuff
No, no, any company can prepare this, depending on what they want to look at. Okay. If they want to make sure they're able to look at the contribution, then they use this. Marketing is any business. Yes.
what does it mean? Because now the amount that is cost divided by contribution. So is it the need that we for you to break even or what? Because as I understand, this will be the
This is the mixes, combination. In other words, a mix of, yeah. This is a mix to break even.
and this one we just
Is to break it down between the two products. So it doesn't make sense this one. We have to know how many to produce of one and how many to produce of the other. Or sell of one and sell of the other.
so we need that. We just need to let's say that if the mix products we just produce this one for 4,000 units.
You have only one unit. If you're selling only one unit, then only one. You don't need to calculate this mix. But if you sell more than one product and it has a relationship, in other words, it's complementing, or every time you sell two of one, you sell one of the other, then there is a mix.
But here is the unique of the break-even base. So meaning that
Number of mixes.
so number of sales.
Combination.
We need to sell this set, right?
Yes,
Like-
set, yes, exactly.
So we need to sell 500
Yes,
sets.
yes.
And then in each set.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. You found the right word, correct.
And one more thing is how can we, in normal business, how can we find this like 7 to 1 or 7 to 3 or 5 to 1?
Now, marketing would actually know.
But normally I believe that marketing also give, for example, advices from finance team to know how much they need to sell to get a break even.
That is after you find the mix. They have to know the product, how many of each to sell. Yes, after you get from them the mix. Then tell them I will be able to tell you.
Our friend, we cannot find a mix from them.
They have to know. It's like in the example, the marketing team should know what is the mix of your sales.
What if they choose it wrong?
There will be more. Yes. They should know because they are the ones who made the product, so they know how many of each you sell. Unless they give it to you, we will not know because we don't know technically the product. Yeah, we know how to calculate, but they have to give us some information. Fight with them. Yes. Remember I told you with the clients, I will give you a list. That is a schedule. For example, a list of payables is a schedule. That's what it means.
That is a fine schedule. Schedule is a piece of the summaries. Yes. Then that came from the accounts directors. Yeah. The accounts receivable list, the payables list. It's like the list, balance account, the amounts, any summary that they typed in, you have to check against where they came from. Each schedule as in the time and date, they call it a schedule. Fun, isn't it? Fun. All right. Any questions before we proceed?
I have a question for you. Okay, remember here we calculated what? We calculated the average CS ratio, correct? Now, what happens if in the problem, instead of giving you the sales and variable costs, it gives you the CS ratio instead. Okay? Now look here. It gives you the individual CS ratio, and there are two mixes, 3:4. Yes? So this is the CS ratio of X, CS ratio of Y. How do I get average CS ratio? So all you need to take is the two CS ratios, yes? Multiply by the what? What's this? The mix. Divide by 7. You understand where the 7 came from? Yeah? Is a total of the two mixes, correct? Okay? Now, this is your average CS ratio. Then you can use it as normal. You understand? Okay? You can use it to calculate same as the previous one. Again, what if they don't give you the selling price and the variable cost, but they give you the CS ratio? How do you get the average CS ratio? You multiply it with the corresponding mix divided by the total mix. You understand? Okay. Then you can use it. Yun? Okay. Here's another example. Okay. What happens if, okay, example, the company wants to earn a contribution of 500,000. Okay? At the moment, they have a CS ratio of 60%. So the question is, okay, so their CS ratio is 60%. How much sales should sell to get a contribution of 500,000? All you need to do is what? Take the, what's this? Take the contribution divided by the CS ratio. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Does that make sense? I take the CS ratio, the contribution divided by the CS ratio. It will give you the sales. Okay, you understand? Okay. So, again. Let's put it in the context that you understand. Sales, variable cost equals contribution, correct? Okay. They want to have a contribution of how much? 500,000. They want to know how much they're going to sell, correct? What is the CS ratio? 60%. Yes? And this is the 100%, right? Correct? So how do I get to that? Then is what? 500 divided by, or this? Yes? Correct? Is this the same as over here? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, makes sense now, huh? Okay, so in other words, okay, so any change in proportion, okay, will change the contribution per mix. Okay, is that correct? If the proportion of the mixes change, then it will change your contribution. Okay, and your average CS ratio will change. Okay. In other words, if this ratio will change, will it change the contribution? Again, if this ratio will change, will it change the total contribution? Yes or no? Yes, it will. Okay. Why would it normally change? Why would the combination change? Because companies would like to sell what? Which product they want to sell? Between these two, X and Y, which product would the company want to sell more? What? X. Why? I rest my case. Do you understand now? Yes? So, the mix will change, can change, if the company wants to sell more of the product that has a higher contribution. Okay? Contribution. Okay? Now, so another example. If they want to change, okay, the ratio 2:4. What was the original mix earlier? In the mix? No, in the M&N. M&N. What was the original? 5:1. Now they 5:1 in 6, correct? Yeah. Now instead of 5:1, they want to make it 2:4. Still 6. Okay? Question. Alright? Which one is better? The 2:4 or the 5:1? What should you do? You need to calculate the what? Break even, and then you need to calculate the break even units and revenue. So, again, here's the case. So, step 1. How many mixes? Do you remember how many mixes earlier? 1,000. So, we begin from there. So, now with 1,000 mixes, okay, what will now be the contribution per mix? The contribution per mix is 48. What's the contribution 4 and 10? In the M&N? Yes or no? Look into paper, don't look at me. You remember the original M&N? What's the contribution 4 and 10? Original. Now 5:1 is your mix, original. But the contribution? No, not the ice pack. The first one, M&N. 4 and 10. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay, good. Now this is the new mix, correct? 2:4. Excellent. Now what happened? The mix has come down from 1,000 to 625 to break even, correct? Okay. So question number 2 here is, what is the break-even point? Okay, so remember, what is 50,000? Was your break-even in the beginning, correct? In the first example. What about here? What is the break-even? 46 to 50. Here, it was from 1,000, it became 625, correct? How did I get here? What did I do? The mixes multiplied by the new mix, correct? Okay. Which is better? The 2:4 or 5:1? Remember, the mix 1 was what? 5 of M is to 1 of N, correct? Mix 2 is 2 of M is to 4 of N. Which one is better? Mix number 2 is better. Why? Why mix 2 is better? Because mix 1, this is your mixes. Mix 2, this is your mixes to break even. Or, in terms of value, mix 1, you need to sell $50,000 to break even. In mix 2, you only need 46,000 to 50. Which is better? Mix 1 or mix 2? Mix 2. Why? Because you need to sell less to break even. You understand? Okay, you don't need to sell more to break even. Okay? Right? That's what it says here. Okay? Okay, clear? Or you can see here, contribution. 48 out of the 6 items is $8. Okay? With 30 divided by 5, divided by 6 is what? 5. Yes? 5. You get more contribution in mix 2 rather than in mix number 1. Hence, you have lesser amount to break even. Okay. Right. So, as you can see, if you change the product mix, it will change your decision points. Okay, now, all right. So, what happens if? Okay, another example, This company sells 2 products, alpha and beta. 5:1. They have the same selling price. The beta has a CS ratio of 66.67%. But the alpha, we don't know. But the overall CS ratio is 58.72. Now remember, what is the mix? The mix is 5:1. Because now they want to see if they change it to 2:5. But you know we need the other mix. We need the other CS ratio. Don't make a mistake. This one is the CS ratio for beta. There is no CS ratio for alpha, but they give the overall. What should I do? Okay? Right? So, what is the current market share? Market share is 5:6, 1:6, correct?
Yeah.
5:6, 1:6. So, what you need to do is, since you have the information of beta, look at this one here. Look at the table. Because accountants, they understand better if it's in table format. Okay, you change it and they get lost, isn't it? Welcome to being an accountant. Okay. Now, what is this one here? Is this given?
Yes.
Yeah, it's given, right? Okay, good. Now, what is the market share of beta? This one, right? What is that in decimal point? Okay, isn't that 0.1667? Yes, okay. Which means beta, okay, right? If the overall CS ratio is 58, is that correct? What is this one here? This is your overall, correct? Now, out of the overall, This belongs to beta, which means the rest of that belongs to alpha. What is the market share? Is that correct? Yes. So what is the So what is the CS ratio of alpha? You work that out. You understand? Okay, you work it back. Okay. So now you have two CS ratio, the alpha and the beta. Then after that, you calculate the same way you calculated before. Okay, to get to your break-even point. Okay, so these are many different kinds of options on how or what is given to you as in the program. Okay? Don't worry, we shall do some of the examples later on. Alright? Next one. Okay? So here we are. So, what happens now? Okay? Now they want to know and change, right, the market share. Alright? You remember? What do they want now? The market share is 2:5, correct? Okay. So, is that good or bad? What was the overall CS ratio earlier? 0.5. Here is it increased or decreased? Okay, so increased. So, which means, which one is better? Okay? The original CS, the original market share or the current market share? Okay? Right. Why do you think? The original market share was 5:6 and 1:6. They changed it to what? 2:5. Why did they do that? Why did they increase? Okay, again I will show you. Alpha, beta. Original is what? 5:1, correct? This one is 2:5. Why did they change?
We want to sell it group together, like with Microsoft.
Say it again. They want?
They want to sell the rest for that together. The break-even point as soon as possible and sell 5
Very good. Which means they want to sell more of the lower CS ratio or the higher CS ratio? Is beta higher? Is beta higher than alpha in CS ratio? Tell me. Yes or no? Where are you looking? The first line there. You see that? Beta has a higher CS ratio than alpha. Got that? That's why they want to sell more. You understand that? Everybody? Makes sense, huh? Okay, good. Alright. Now, this time, let's learn how to calculate if companies want to sell at a profit. Okay? So, contribution per mix, the number of mixes, we know that already. Then, all you need to know is how many number of units to sell for each product. Okay, so what should you do? You remember JCO again? Yes, remember, we're going to use that. They want a profit of 24,900, okay? Now, contribution per mix remains the same. However, the difference will be in the second, okay? In the second calculation. Okay, what happened in the second calculation? What did we do? You see, you already added the required profit. Do you see? Okay. Now, to be able to make that profit, JCO has to sell 1,830 mixes. How many mixes earlier to break even? 1,000. So it's more because you have to make profit now. And then, of course, break it down into number of units. And then, what happened? Sorry, my line is everywhere the place. So now, total revenue, profit will be what? What will your profit be? Okay, so is it correct, so what you calculated? You're gonna get confused. Yes? Total revenue less variable cost, agree? Minus, oops, where's my fixed cost? Sorry. There's something missing. Sorry, total revenue, alright, understood. Variable cost, yes. Okay, and then where's the contribution? Is 30,000 our fixed cost? Yes or no? Yes? Okay, where's the contribution? There's something missing. How do I know what is the total? I'm sorry, it's here. Sorry, this one should be here. Yes? Understood? Is that correct? So this is now my sales. Agree? Okay? 91 is your revenue. Sorry. This is your variable cost. This is your fixed cost. Yeah? So we come up with a profit. Agree? So what was the targeted profit? Is this a targeted profit? 24,900? Yes. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Alright? Now, what about if it was CS ratio? What should we do? Okay, so you need to calculate the average CS ratio. Okay, again, what all you need to do is put fixed cost plus the profit. You understand? Okay. Then, is it the same like earlier? 91? Yes, 91. 91. Okay, so it's either the first one or the second approach. Okay? Alright. Your turn. Okay. Company wants to sell how many products? Okay, question. Do you have selling price? You have cost? You have mix? It's all there? Yes, all there. Now, do we have the targeted profit? How much? 52. Do you have fixed cost? Yes. Okay, good. Now tell us how many to sell to reach to the profit. Somebody's wanting to go home now. What is your contribution? So this is the selling price. This is the selling price. Now, it's not yet contribution. Can you do it really? How do you calculate contribution? Sales less what? Then, what is the mix? Yes. This is your contribution, correct?
That's right. What's your mix? What is the mix?
Yeah, the same thing with you. What's this? Is that contribution? What's that say? How do you calculate contribution? Yes. Now you do. Okay. Point B dividers. No need for that. Because you need contribution per mix. This is the one. Not this one. Not this one. That's one. You need the 32. That? You don't need to divide it. No more. You come up to the same thing with what you did, you come up with the same thing. But it's a different approach. You totally correct. Yes. You come up to the same. Sorry. But you not have a number of mixes. Sorry. Yeah, here. Ladies and gentlemen, do not be confused. You have to calculate contribution first, yes? Okay. Then what is this one here? Is the mix. You get contribution per mix. Very good. Then what's the next step? So this is your contribution per mix, correct? And that is what? 33. What is our next step? Break even in what? When mixes, correct? Yes? No, sorry, not break even, sorry. Yeah, require targeted what? Targeted sales, okay, to get the profit. What was the profit? 52. What is the fixed cost? 80. What do I do with this? Divided by 33. Yes? How many mixes? 4,000 mixes. Does everybody agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Over there, am I right? Yes? Okay, now, how do I know how much of each one to sell? Multiply by what? by 2, 1, and 3. Is that correct? Yes? So that would be 8,000 units, 4,000 units, and 12,000 units. If I want to know how much the sales value, I need to multiply by what? 20, the selling price. Everybody agree? So total revenue will be 464. Yes, understood? Question. Questions? Clear? Now, let's go to the next one. Wait, hold on. Yes. Where's that? Okay. There. Multiply this one. Yes. This is the one. Multiply this. Yes. 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 Okay. All right then. Let's go back to our slides. Okay. This time, margin of safety. So remember, margin of safety is the difference between break-even and the budgeted sales, correct? So normally they'll give you the budgeted sales. What you need to do is calculate two things. The break-even, then you can calculate margin of safety. You got that? Okay. So in JCO, if the budgeted sales is 62, you remember the break-even was 50, correct? Okay. What is the margin of safety? Margin of safety is 12,000. How do I get it again in percentage? What should I do? Remember, what should I do to get the percentage? Okay, so you have margin of safety divided by what? Budgeted sales. Yes? Okay, budgeted sales. I explained to you what it means. Okay, let's get some examples in a moment. Okay. All right. Okay, now you're going to use all what you need to know, what you have been taught. I want you to give me the margin of safety in terms of sales revenue. At the same time, I need to give you to give me the percentage. All right? So, how many products this example sells? How many products? 2. W and R. Okay? Do you have selling price? Cost? Do you have the combination or mix? What is the mix? 5:6. You have the fixed costs and you have the budgeted sales. So what is the thing you need to calculate first? You need to calculate what? Break-even sales, so that you can give me margin of safety. Margin of safety is the difference between budget and Very good. Okay, go ahead. Calculate. But oh God, I told you I'm going to ask you to work hard today. Oh God. What is your contribution per mix? Is it same like mine? Yes or no? Yes? Okay. Why did I get revenue per mix? Because I want CS ratio. Okay? What is revenue per mix is what? What did I do here below? What's this? What's here? What's 8 and 14? This is the selling price, correct?
Yes.
This one is the mix, right? So 124 is your revenue per mix, agree? Yes? So now this is your CS ratio. Why did I do that? Yes, I'm looking for the break even in revenue in dollar, correct?
Yes.
So what should I do next after number 3? I need break even in dollars. What should I do? What is step 4? Which one? Yes, correct. Fixed cost divided by what? CS ratio. What am I calculating for that? I'm looking for break even in what? In sales revenue, correct? Okay. So what is the fixed cost here? 43,890. Agree? Divided by the CS ratio. So how much does it give me? 68,205. All right. So what is the question again? It's asking us to calculate what? Okay. What is the formula of margin of safety? Margin of safety. The budget of what? How much the sales value? Okay. 74,400. Minus what? Yes, 68,205, which means? Not yet, get the difference first. Okay. Which means in value is what? Is this correct? Yes? What is the percentage? Divide by what? The 68 or the 74? 74. The 74. How many percent? Okay. So this is what? 8%. Yun? Easy? Easy peasy. Yes. Yeah. I wanted to show something else. If you use the other one, not using the CS ratio, but using the break-even mixes, as long as you get to the number of break-even value. Okay? Her question is, what if I didn't use CS ratio? I used the other one, the other method. Is it okay? Yes, you will come out with the same break-even value. You'll come up with the same break-even value. But we can do it for you. Fine. Okay, question? More questions? More. Okay? We move on? Not yet. Wait, hold on. Okay? All right. Good. Any questions? All right. The next discussion will be on how to prepare charts. Okay. But that will require another hour. Okay. So it's 10 minutes before the end. I don't think I should start. Okay. Questions. I will entertain questions. What I wanted to do today, I need to give you something to read. This one is a technical paper. I sent it via Google Classroom. This is technical paper on cost, volume, profit analysis. You will see here what the examiner wants you to master. What kind of calculations you need to be able to do, because this is how she's going to test all of us. Okay? Okay. Tomorrow, we are going to continue on preparation of graphs. Then we go to the next technique, which is limiting factor analysis, chapter 4. Alright. Any questions? Alright. Here. Okay, wait for the technical paper to come. Good. Tomorrow, please bring your rulers, please. Okay? And I have an announcement to do. Yes, count on several dots. From next week, next time we meet, the next weekend. Yeah, we're meeting next weekend, right? Alright. From next weekend, the hard copy that I'm going to give you is only the lecture notes. Okay? Any activity in class, I will ask you to make sure you bring your computers, because it will be on the computer. No more writing. Oh, what do you mean? Oh. The exam is in the computer. Wow. Alright, so this is for your own good. Sorry you have to carry your computers. It's good. You carry your computers to be stronger. You have muscles. Okay. But tomorrow still, we're going to have pieces of paper. So, alright. So I'll see you at 1:30. Okay. See you tomorrow. 1 o'clock. You come early. All right. Good night, everybody. Stay safe. How many is your memory?
This is Microsoft Service.
Let me start.
You're very angry. Me, I'm tired. I'm not tired, I'm just hungry. Really hungry. And I already ate rice at lunchtime. What time I sleep? Last night I slept at 10. But yesterday, you know what happened to me yesterday? I traveled yesterday. And I woke up at 4 in the morning. Hey, I'm supposed to be arriving here at 2 p.m. The flight got delayed. So 4 o'clock I'm awake, So flight got delayed. I arrived in the airport here 6:35 p.m. By the time I reached the hotel, it's in traffic. 8 p.m. So more than 16 hours in the road. And of course, I have to eat. So by the time you eat, you cannot sleep because you're full. So you sleep at 10. Oh, so tiring. Can't even remember my toes or something. Oh, what is your life? Tell me your life.
Sleep at 3 p.m. 3 a.m.
Why you sleep at 3 a.m.? What? Oh, I live that life. You want me to tell you the story of my life that time? Oh, it's worse than yours. Oh my God, it's good you sleep at 3 a.m. When I was auditor at peak period, we stay in the client office. I go to the office, and then I come home 6 a.m. Not to sleep, to bring my old dirty clothes. And I get new clothes. By 7, I am back in the office. Again, the same thing. And only sleep a bit like this, here, like this chair. Sometimes under because it's too cold. Like this. Peak period, like this. Okay? This is the life of auditor. Do not complain. Yeah, when you're auditor, you are a walking zombie. Yeah, zombie. Yeah, you don't know if it's morning, night, midnight, noontime. You don't know if you have brushed your teeth or washed your face or even ate your dinner. You don't know if it's dinner or breakfast you're eating. It's like that. Yes, it's that.
Enjoy with your life.
It's good. It's nice, isn't it? Fun. It's okay. It's okay. Remember. What does not kill you will only make you better. So far you're alive. Then remember, all this is for you to be better. So just think of this. Now, so that you... Yes, that way, huh? Because your partner, check. He might be a robot. Bye. Hello, sorry, I have not been able to fix my stuff yet. Hold on, please.
Can I have you?
Wait a moment, please. Now I have to tuck away my stuff. Wait a moment, please.
What is this?
Hold on. This one?
I have some problem with
Well,
virus. The virus spreading every classes here.
I told you.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not using anymore. I'm so